Keenan Allen may be one of the most underrated wide receivers in the entire league. As a matter of fact, he might be one of the most criminally underrated wide receivers in the entire history of the NFL. Not only on a personal level, but just in comparison to other players. So in this video, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk stats, because that's very good to look at for a personal level, but we're also going to look at how Keenan Allen ranks amongst other all-time greats, as well as how much respect he gets from fellow players and coaches. But if this is your first time on the channel and you enjoy this content, please hit me with a like and subscribe. It really makes a whole world of difference, especially for small YouTubers such as myself. I'm trying to reach 200 subscribers before the end of the month and 1,000 before the end of the year, and I cannot do that without your guys' help. But let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get right into this. Keenan Allen is the most underrated wide receiver in the entire NFL. Let's start with stats first, as I feel like that's the easiest way to overall take a look at it on a personal level. So, Keenan Allen has played 9 years, going on 10 years in the league, and although he had some injury issues early on, the past 5 years, consistency has been absolutely insane. Keenan Allen has had over 100 receptions in 4 of the last 5 seasons, and he was only 3 receptions short in 2018. So if he got 3 more in 2018, that's 5 seasons in a row with 100 plus receptions. No one else in the league right now is doing that at all. That's not even like an opinion. That is a fact. No one else has had that many seasons in a row currently of 100 plus receptions except for Keenan Allen. Not only that, but he's had 1,000 plus receiving yards in 4 of the last 5 seasons and was only 8 short in 2020. So 8 more there, and he has 5 seasons in a row of 1,000 plus receiving yards. So we're looking at a wide receiver who over the past 5 years has been averaging 100 receptions and 1,000 receiving yards every season for the past 5 years. If that's not consistency, I don't know what is. Not only that, but over the last 5 years, he's had 6 touchdowns or more, including in 2020 when he had 8. Yes, the same season that he was 8 short of his 1,000 receiving yards, he had the most touchdowns of his career with 8. And although that might not seem like a lot, you got to realize when you're a top wide receiver on your team, such as Keenan Allen, you're going to get double teamed and just closed off when you reach that red zone, especially with a team such as the Chargers, who have definitely struggled in that department over the past few years, not being able to score when they reach that red zone area. So Keenan Allen has been extremely consistent, but not only that, he has had 60 plus first down receptions in each of the last 5 seasons. So out of his 100 receptions per year, 60 of those have been for a first down. So over half of Keenan Allen's receptions are for first downs. Not only that, but this past year, Keenan Allen was the most clutch wide receiver in the third down conversion in the entire league percentage-wise. By far, when you needed a third down conversion, you threw it to Keenan Allen. And that's exactly what it was. Statistically speaking, he was by far the best rated third down wide receiver in the entire league. And not only that, I brought up the fact that he did miss some time early on in his career due to multiple different reasons. Over the past 5 years, he's only missed 3 games. 3 games. Extremely consistent. And in 2020, he missed 2 games. 2020 was the year he was 8 yards short of 1,000 receiving yards. So if he plays one more game there, boom, you're over 1,000, and you get 5 in a row. Keenan Allen has been the definition of consistency because of availability. Now, let's look at some all-time numbers for Keenan Allen himself. First, we're going to talk about the Chargers' all-time numbers, where he ranks amongst them, as well as NFL history. So let's start with the Chargers' all-time history numbers for Keenan Allen. In yards, Keenan Allen is 4th for the Chargers. 4th all-time. And by the way, Keenan still has at least 5 more years until he retires, and he's already 4th for the Chargers, as well as 2nd in total receptions, which he could probably take over that one spot by the time by the time he retires. And lastly, he is 4th in the Chargers touchdown leaders all time for receiving touchdowns. And that includes some phenomenal players like Antonio Gates, Kellen Winslow. You have Bambi. You have all these top wide receivers and tight ends and running backs like LT. And Keenan Allen is 4th in yards, 2nd in receptions, and 4th in receiving touchdowns. That is absolutely insane, and he's done that in a much shorter amount of time than a lot of these guys. Now, let's talk NFL history. All time, every single player that's ever played, where does Keenan Allen rank amongst these players? Well, first, Keenan Allen was the fastest player ever to reach 700 receptions, and he did that in 111 games. Tied with Antonio Brown, let that be known. But per what quarter it was in and everything, he was the fastest to reach 700 receptions ever, including the fact that you have these incredible guys, and he was first, with guys like Antonio Brown closely behind him, Julio Jones. But you got to think, he's the fastest to do it, and you have people like Calvin Johnson, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, all these guys that are likely in your Mount Rushmore wide receivers, and Keenan Allen beat all of them to the 700 reception mark. I think that says something. Not only that, but he's top 100 in receiving yards already. He's top 50 in receptions, and he's top 200 in receiving touchdowns. With years left on his career, he's already top 200 in the 3 major wide receiver categories, and 2 of those he's top 100. Those are some incredible numbers. And likely he might be able to jump into that top 25 for receptions and possibly that top 75 for receiving yards. And it would not be that surprising. So the main question that I have is, why has Keenan Allen been so underrated, especially for the fans? I feel like that's the key area that he is underrated in, because I feel like, as we're going to see in a second here, his peers, his fellow teammates, people he's going against, defenders, coaches, all see how good he is. So my question is, why does the fans not give the respect that I think he deserves? Well, first, let's talk about the respect that he gets from his peers. First up, this year, just about a month ago actually, Julian Edelman was asked during a podcast and or interview, I do not remember which, to rank his top 3 wide receivers right now. And Keenan Allen was in his top 3. Julian Edelman ranked Keenan in his top 3. And although Julian Edelman is not one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, I think that does say something, because he was extremely consistent for the Patriots during their runs and was even a Super Bowl MVP. And he ranked Keenan Allen top 3 right now in the league. He was also ranked as the 6th best wide receiver in the entire league via ESPN this year. And in Justin Jefferson's top 5 players that he watches to learn, he watches Keenan Allen. He was in his top 5. He's also in the 94th percentile, which, if you don't know what that means he's in the top 6% of the league, which means him and an extremely small group of people are in this category. Keenan Allen was in the 94th percentile in man-to-man win rate percentages, which means if he is manned up on a guy, a DB versus him, and there's no one else helping him, Keenan Allen is in the highest echelon of winning that and getting a receptions on man-on-man, no matter who is covering him. And those other guys that are up there are some incredible names like Devontae Adams as well. And Keenan Allen is right there with those people. And Nick Sirianni, who I believe is one of the Eagles coaches, if I'm not, I might be incorrect on that, but I know he's in the Eagles organization, ranked Keenan Allen in his top 3 for route running. And a lot of people rank Keenan Allen in the top 3 for route running in the entire league. Personally, I rank him either first or second, right there with Stephon Diggs. Cooper Kupp probably pretty close behind there. So you have him ranked by his people he's playing against and coaches that have to learn how to defend him in the top 5, in the top 3, in so many different statistical categories, as well as just personal preferences. So back to that question. Now that we've went through stats, his numbers compared to his own team as well as ever, and his respect among other peers, back to the main question at hand. Why is Keenan Allen so underrated? Well, I think a big factor in that is just how he plays. And I actually love how Keenan plays. He's one of my favorite wide receivers to watch. Thankfully, he's on my favorite team, the Chargers. But he plays almost like street basketball on the football field. He uses head fakes, he uses shoulder shrugs, he uses, jab steps, crossovers, all these really basketball driven moves, and he uses it on the football field. You don't always see, and you may at times see it because he's still amazing at it, you don't always see him going for that huge jump ball in traffic and brings it down. You also don't always see him trucking through defenders for that first down. But what you do find him doing time in and time out is catching clutch receptions that shouldn't be in his range, that he reaches up and grabs last second and touches his feet inside boundaries just barely, and the defenders are like, oh, he's definitely out, and everyone's questioning it. And you see him constantly making the defenders look lost, making it look like the defender thinks he's in zone coverage and Keenan is not in it, even though they're in man, because the defender is so far over after Keenan jabbed one way and went the other way. You see Keenan on some of the most simple routes, such as a slant, getting wide open in the middle of the field just because he did a simple jab step out and his cornerback slid way out there like he was about to drop into a deep screen coverage. Keenan Allen is the most underrated wide receiver in the entire league. And I hope one day, someday soon, everyone starts to realize how incredible he is. I mean, not only has he had all these incredible numbers, but consistently he's been in the Pro Bowl the last 5 years. Not a lot of people have done that. And he's still being told that he's not even top 20 by some people's reports. And now I know the Twitter monsters that are typing away don't matter in comparison to what is actually done by Keenan Allen. But it's still incredible to think about the fact that people see a guy who's breaking 1,000 receptions and 100 receptions time in and time out, and being a Pro Bowler and playing at a top level and being the wide receiver number 1 for a lot of people. And they still don't have him ranked in the top 25. They have people that are wide receiver 2s ranked above Keenan Allen. And I don't fully understand it. For me, Keenan Allen is easily top 10. I could potentially sneak him in my top 5. I could confidently put him in my top 5. But it's all about perspective. Do you love that huge jump ball player? Do you like a guy that's going to break you down with routes like Keenan Allen? Do you like a guy that's going to use his body to come up with these big catches like Calvin Johnson did? Or do you just want a guy with some incredible hands like Jerry Rice? It's all about perspective. And I think Keenan Allen, on his play, brings perspective to the wide receiver position. He shows you don't have to be incredibly fast like Tyreek Hill. He shows you don't have to be extremely big like guys like Calvin Johnson. You can be a smaller sized guy with really quick agility and use your feet and have solid hands. Well, not solid. Keenan Allen has some of the best hands in the entire league. But you can be a top wide receiver with those attributes. You don't have to be physically gifted from birth. You can just become good by doing something over and over and over and over again. And that's exactly what Keenan Allen has done. So I hope not only in this video, but in the future, that people start to realize how great Keenan Allen is. He's one of my favorite Chargers of all time and one of my favorite wide receivers of all time. Hopefully one day I get a signed jersey of him that I can put up behind me. But I really hope in this video that I can kind of show you guys. And hopefully at some point I'll have some highlights, likely in this corner, to show you. And you can watch him go through these incredible route trees, come up with these clutch catches on third down or on the sideline. and just see how great of a wide receiver he is, because he has not got the publicity that people like D-Hop and Devontae Adams have got. So comment down below, what do you guys think? Where do you rank Keenan Allen? Has he improved since you watched this video? And do you think Keenan Allen is underrated or just right? If you enjoyed this content, please give it a like. It means a lot and it boosts it in the YouTube algorithm. If you really enjoy this channel and you want to see more deep dives similar to this of teams or players, please subscribe. I make daily NFL, NHL, and NBA content, and I'm really trying to break 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I cannot do that without your guys' help. And, I'm doing everything I can to improve for you guys, so if you have any criticisms, please put it down below. I'm taking consideration everything that is said. And, as always, I hope it taught you something today. Hope it made you smile. Hope it made you laugh. Something's really important to me. Affect someone else's day in a great way. Every single day can be a great day if we all just put in the effort. So, let's do that. Let's put in the effort to have a great day. And, as always, you guys all be safe out there.
But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that